Geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new edition of Geek to Me Radio, episode 304. Today we are joined by actor Jes Macallan talking about her role as Ava on Legends of Tomorrow, getting the part, and who's the best improver on the show. After that, we'll speak with actor Kristin Kreuk about Edgemont, Smallville, Beauty and the Beast, Reacher, and how you can meet her at an upcoming Fan Expo event. All that and more, stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And for our brand new listeners who may have just found the show this very first time, hello, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy what you're about to hear. I'm James Enstall, the host of Geek to Me Radio, and every week we try to bring you something new from the world of pop culture, be it an interview with an actor, artist, writer, creator, director, producer, musician, composer, who knows. We try to get a little something different in every single week. For my longtime listeners, hello, thank you for coming back. I appreciate your always listening, your constant support. Just a couple of quick things before we get into the show. If you are wondering how can I support Geek to Me Radio, there are several different ways that don't cost you a single thing. The best way is, of course, if you go to geektomeradio.com, find our Amazon affiliate link. If you click through from that when you shop on Amazon, as you normally would, we get a small percentage of that. It costs you nothing extra. It's just something we get for you using our Amazon link. That goes a long way to help the show. Also, you can check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/geektomeradio, or just search Geek to Me Radio on Patreon. We do appreciate our sponsors. There's a couple different tiers you can come in at, and that way you get something back, and hopefully you're enjoying what you hear enough to let us know you appreciate us by supporting us each month, or just a small little bit about the cost of a cup of coffee, as Sally Struthers used to say. And of course, you can also, big way to help us is subscribe to us on YouTube and twitch.tv. And of course, give us a follow across social media, facebook.com/geektomeradio. Give the Facebook page a like and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Geek to Me Radio. We do appreciate all of you who are already doing so, and appreciate all of you new people who might be finding us for the first time and helping us out in that aspect. With that out of the way, let's get to it.
Woohoo!
Jes Macallan, star of Legends of Tomorrow. What a fun show. I mean, there's so many different facets. You guys are doing adventure, you guys are doing drama, you guys are doing comedy.
We're doing lots of things. We're doing it all. Yeah.
As an actor, this must be a show that I would think ticks all the boxes for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We play dress up, we time travel, we're in period wardrobe, we're doing accents. I mean, I did a Russian accent. Yeah, it's really wonderful to be able to not be in the same, limited pocket of a character. We're fun, but then there's obviously weighted, hefty storylines that we get to sink our teeth into, and then we have the camaraderie of the family of what we are with these ragtag band of superheroes that we get to tack on to it. So it's it's a blessing all around. We're so happy, and it helps that we really, really get along outside of the show, which is not always the case.
Right, as we've heard stories come out lately, the more things about behind the scenes in Hollywood, we find out some people aren't as camaraderie as you guys are.
Yeah, we're very, very close. I mean, we all, since in the hiatus while we're waiting for the pickup, we've all connected and all been, supportive. And even when we're not waiting for a pickup and we know we're coming back, we're always checking on each other and, making sure everybody's good. And we'll be friends, I think, for the long haul. So that makes me really, really happy.
And this may be something that you can't speak to, but I know it seems like you guys have been renewed, bam, 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 every season.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a lull. Is this something that the fans can, people have been hashtagging Legends of Tomorrow? Is there something is it just a budgetary suits in the room kind of thing?
Hashtag renew Legends of Tomorrow is the hashtag. Put it on the banner right there. Bing, hashtag renew Legends of Tomorrow.
You see it right there on the screen?
Yeah, you see it right there, right there, right there. Yeah, it's I to be honest with you, and I would probably air our dirty laundry if I knew. I don't know if it's the suits. I certainly know that there's an upheaval of a lot of the outlets at this point of streaming versus network versus obviously the CW's been sold. I know the purchaser of Discovery wanting to move things over to streaming and where we fit there and if we fit there and how we fit there. Yeah, it was a little hard when they picked up Flash, and we just thought, oh man. And I know that I was just speaking with Rachel and about Batwoman, and it's like we're going, what? Wait a second, that's not good. That was the scary moment.
Yeah.
So we'll know in the next couple of weeks. I think. I mean, they'll have to know before upfronts, but I think it's really. I don't feel like it's a personal vendetta. I feel like it's a lot of stuff out of our control that a lot of suits, if you will, or powers that be, are trying to kind of talk about.
So just to be clear, you said you talked with her and you said Batwoman's renewed. You guys were worried.
No, they're not renewed.
Oh, they weren't. Okay,
no,
I thought. Okay.
No. So that no.
I was gonna say we heard about it here first.
Cut. No,
Breaking news.
They're not. And so we're kind of the show that was floating out there. I think we were all thinking we would be in the same camp of whatever that renewal was or cancellation. And again, we feel like we didn't really Legends especially. I don't know how. I do not speak for them, but we didn't end the show. So.
Right.
We certainly didn't end it. That certainly wouldn't be how we wanted to end it, on the floor in prison by Booster Gold. We introduced an amazing new character from the DC world. Like, how awesome.
Yes.
Donald Faison is a huge asset to the show. He's so fun. He brings such a new energy. You're like, that can't be it. But again, I think it's something that's out of our control.
Yeah.
That we'll just have to kind of pray to the gods of Bebo.
That's right. Pray to Bebo, people.
Pray to Bebo. I mean.
And the character of Ava has taken such a great, you come on as kind of like the head of the Time Bureau, you're very all business, and you've become more fun, more laid back as you kind of floated with this team. When you were brought on, did the people, well, let's start with the audition process. What was the audition process like getting the role for Ava?
Yeah, I've spoken like ad nauseum about this, and it feels such a walk down memory lane to go back to it, because it was supposed to be a recurring. It was ultimately definitely known as a probable love interest for Sarah Lance. We chemistry read together, so I know that she read with some different people, and I know that they wanted a character that challenged her, and I know that in that chem read, I think I basically told her, like, that's enough, and kind of, like, in character, you can go now, and she was just like, oh my god, who is this person? And then it ended up being me, and I didn't know I didn't know the world, I didn't know the universe. Of course, I was so excited to be a part of Berlanti's camp and DC and an Arrowverse spin-off. I mean, just in the Arrowverse in general, I was like, this is going to be great. No concept where it was going to go. No concept that it was going to be, this Ava Lance ship situation. And I don't think the showrunners did, and I think that's why our show has been successful, is when something's working, they really lean in. Yeah. When something's working for us as actors, when
Are you hungry?
I planned that for you.
Check out the food truck plaza up the west side.
We're going to hold for the plane.
Throughout the floor.
This segment brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. No, Chick-fil-A is not good. Bebo, is that you? That's our pickup right there. Are you hungry? But yeah, I don't think that I thought that it was going to be what it turned out to be, and now it's just been like, sometimes I pinch myself. And I think that's why now we're we've put the work in, and it's there. We're, no spoilers, but the way that the last season ended, I mean, Ava and Sarah have a whole world to give of something magical. Can I talk about what happened? With the no spoilers.
Yeah,
hang up now. Go get some food at the Chick-fil-A.
Put pause. Go catch up.
Put pause. But yeah, because we're about to have a baby. I mean, that's huge, just for representation. Yeah. Also on television, the fact that it's our baby, awesome. Like I read that storyline and was reading that scene, and I thought, I'm incredibly overwhelmed emotionally as an actor, but as a human, that two people the same gender could have a baby that's theirs. This is so great, and let's lean into that. And so I don't know, I just want to explore it. I think it'll be really cool.
The show's been great about representation. Maisie and everyone else on the cast, it's a diverse cast. It's a great group.
Spooner's ace. I mean,
and it shows that everyone blends so well together. Mm-hmm. I always love to ask this question though: is there, because it seems like you guys are having a great deal of fun, are any of the lines ad-libbed and the people are like, we're going to keep that? We'll take a brief pause for commercials. We'll come right back and get that answer from Jes Macallan. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio. Please stand by.
Hey guys, this is Corey Payton. I play Cyborg on Teen Titans Go. Booyah! And get ready for some Geek to Me Radio. I hear it's real good.
Welcome back to Geek to Me Radio. The show would not have been possible doing it a little over 5 years now. Started in August of 2016. Would not be possible without the support of our premier sponsor, the City of St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. If you listen to us live on the radio, you know I always talk about the website discoverstcharles.com. That's discoverstcharles.com. Gorgeous day in St. Louis and St. Charles here today in the general vicinity. And if you're wanting to get out and enjoy some of that, St. Charles has a lot of great options for you. If you want to do some sports, if you want to go toss a frisbee or a ball around in Frontier Park, bike ride the Katy Trail. If you just want to get out and try something new, explore someplace you haven't been for a while, there's always something new to discover in St. Charles. And if you're listening to this right now and you're not close, you're not in the general area, you might be out of state, out of the country, and maybe you want to get away. Maybe you want to plan a vacation. Maybe you go someplace, maybe talking about it with whoever you might be traveling with and say, hey, we want to try someplace new. Come check out St. Charles, a great place to stay. Lots of great places to stay in St. Charles. And, of course, lots of fun to be had once you arrive. You can plan your trip, whether you're local or out of town, by going to the website discoverstcharles.com. Once again, that website, discoverstcharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. Before we took that last break, we were chatting with actor Jes Macallan, Legends of Tomorrow actor Ava. You may know her. And we asked her, with that group, it's such a fun group. The whole cast is so great. Is there a lot of the lines, they're so fun, are very much improv, or are they strictly scripted?
Oh my God, all of them are ad-lib.
Are they?
No, it's really good writing, but most, I'll tell you, I end up in ADR. I learned like season 5 maybe, but I end up in ADR, which is recording afterwards when your lines, so for the people at home, educational television this is. Yeah, it's after when a line sounds like this, because you touched your mic or something, you have to go and try to match it if you're on camera or if you're not on camera. And I always end up in ADR for lines that I added, because I would say them off the cuff or be like, well, she doesn't know that. And they're like, we need to know more volume. I'm like, that wasn't in the script. I just, so...
So are you the worst offender of that then, of the ad-libbing?
We're all pretty good ad-libbers.
Okay.
But I'm probably one of the best. Not one of the best.
Not to brag, but...
No, not meaning it's always good.
Oh, okay.
Meaning I just...
The most prolific at it.
Sometimes just throw things in there that everyone's like, okay. Donald's great, though. Donald smacked me across the face with a couple of his ad-libs when we were... Because our character, certainly Ava wasn't sure about Booster or didn't even know that he was Booster, but when he was introduced, she was kind of like, who's this cocky guy? And yeah, there were a couple times he'd throw stuff in, and I was like, ow, I am just being Ava here. She's just concerned about the team. And but so he'll be an ad-libber for sure. He comes from comedy, so.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, he's on Scrubs.
I mean, come on. Yeah, it's going to be hard to keep up with it.
Right. And with this cast, too, you've got such a great cast. Is there anybody, because you've been on Justified, Shameless, all these other great shows. Is there a person from the cast who you feel as an actor has taught you something that you are now going to take with you going forward?
Oh, wow. They all have. I mean, they all have in different ways. Everyone has taught me something. And I could literally go down from new characters to seasoned, new characters, old characters, new actors, veteran actors. Everyone's taught me something. Because we all have a ton of respect for each other. Tom Wilson, who, played my boss at the Time Bureau. When he was cast, I was just like, okay, I made it. Like, I worshipped the Back to the Future movies. I worshipped his work in those movies. He was like a chameleon. He's such an amazing actor, photographer, dad, human, we've had some people that you just can't believe come to do our show. So that is amazing in itself, and he, had some wonderful things and choices and all of that. Just being in a scene with him was fantastic. And then even newer people that come on that haven't done. I've learned from guest stars. I've learned from people that have 5 and unders, that are just coming on that commit fully. And I think I've learned so much. I learn from everybody. So I'm that kind of actor. I'm a bit of a sponge.
And last question. I know this is a lot of fun to do this show all the time. What's been the biggest challenge or the hardest thing about doing Legends of Tomorrow? Directing and acting at the same time. Literally in a wedding dress this big, trying to call action and cut. And also, doubles. My last episode was all doubles, Legends versus Legends. And, I made sure that I got shot early in the episode so I could, double myself in there. But it was, and again, talk about learning curve. Holy Moses. Hopefully this is a upward trajectory of a long directing career, But that's been the hardest thing. And the hardest thing will be getting canceled. Right. And hopefully, not being able to finish. I don't think it'll happen. Again, we'll pray to Bebo. Okay, pray to Bebo. So let's just take a moment of silence to pray to Bebo. That's right. Ready?
Okay, that was good.
Perfect. And again, so for those of you watching, you can see the social media handles there. But if people who are just listening to this, how can they keep up with Jes Macallan?
It's at Jes Macallan. And know this, Jes with one S, Macallan like the Scotch. Know this, I'm terrible at Twitter. I try my best. I tend to just come in and like a bunch of stuff and be like, hey, and then I disappear for 7 months. But, so yeah, Instagram's the best, I think.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, well, continued success to you. This has been an absolute blast to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you again very soon.
It's all geek to me. Is that what it is?
That's correct.
It's all geek to me.
Thank
Love you guys.
My thanks again to actor Jes Macallan for her time letting we recorded that before we knew that Legends was going to be canceled, so it's very sad. Hopefully, HBO Max will see the fan outcry and they will bring it back just like Netflix did with the TV series Lucifer. There is still hope. If you'd like to see more from Sarah and Ava, obviously Jes Macallan and Katie Lotz, keep hashtagging Renew Legends of Tomorrow. Hashtag Legends of Tomorrow. Get it out there. HBO Max very well could bring it back to streaming, at least get one last season out of it to wrap things up. That would be incredible. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll come right back and hear from Kristin Kreuk. Please stand by.
Hi, this is Neil Ross, the voice of a plethora of animation and game characters. One of them would be the Green Goblin in Spider-Man, who reminds you...
You're listening to Geek to Me Radio!
Welcome back to the show. Thanks for sticking around. This show, our official movie sponsor, we know we love movies on this show. Our official movie sponsor is Marcus Theaters. If you go to the website marcustheaters.com, you can find the location of the Marcus Theaters or the movie tavern closest to you. A lot of great movies out. It feels like summer blockbuster season's already back. We just saw Monday night, we saw the press screening for Top Gun Maverick, and that's great. It's definitely rewatchable. I want to go back and see it again, and that to me is a sign of a good movie. So if you're an 80s fan, if you're new to Top Gun, if you didn't see the original movie, that's okay. You don't need to. It's cool to see that one and then go see the new one. But there's a lot of great movies out right now. The new Firestarter is out from Stephen King. I think you can still, I saw a couple theaters are still playing The Batman. If you haven't seen that yet, get out and see it quickly. Probably won't be in theaters much longer, but a lot of great movies to be seen. And if you're going to go see it, do it in the best possible surroundings, which of course is Marcus Theaters. Use the website to find the location closest to you. You can even rent a private theater. Maybe you have a birthday, graduation, or some other summer event you've got going on. Maybe it'd be a fun thing for Father's Day, come to think of it. If you want to do something nice for Dad, you and the kids, or you and the family, whoever you want to, can get together and rent a private theater, show Dad's favorite movie on the big screen. That's always a good time. We did it with Wrath of Man about a year ago, I guess, and it's a really cool thing to do. You can start it all at the website, marcustheaters.com, for the best movie-going experience in the galaxy. Very proud to have them as the official movie sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. My next guest is very impressive, her resume of TV and movies she's done. It was a great pleasure for me to finally get this chance to talk with Kristin Kreuk. My next guest will be well known to anyone who owns a television. She's been constantly working in series and film. You know her from Edgemont, Smallville, Chuck, Beauty and the Beast that they rebooted in 2012. And you can currently see her on Reacher, which is a fantastic series on Amazon Prime, just confirmed for season 2. Kristin Kreuk, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Doing very well. Congratulations on season 2 of Reacher. Have you already gotten a notification of when you might start filming?
Well, honestly, I think that they'll go. So the way the Reacher series works is they're each based on a book, and all, as most people know, and each book is very different. So I don't think that the cast, apart from Reacher, I mean, maybe some people are coming back. Obviously, Neely will be back, but I don't think the rest of us will be there. So for every season, it'll be a whole new story.
And you got to work with Alan during Smallville. He showed up as Aquaman. Did you guys have a little reminiscing about your time in Smallville?
I think we had actually just done, in the middle of COVID, we had done a virtual convention where we were on a panel together. So we talked a bit about that then before we actually started shooting. But it was really nice to work with him because on Smallville, I never really worked with him. So it was a lot of fun.
And you mentioned the pandemic and doing these virtual conventions. I know I just got done watching your interview with Michael Rosenbaum on his fantastic podcast, Inside of You, and you mentioned that you're a shy person. Were the time during the pandemic, there were a lot of these virtual cons. Were those, for your particular personality type, did you find those a little easier and less stressful for you?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, yes and no. Obviously, the internet stuff is challenging, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
But panel-wise, it's pretty similar. The only thing that's different is it's harder to tell when somebody wants to talk, or you just can't read body language. So yes, there's less pressure because there aren't as many people around, but it's also a little more challenging to get a rhythm.
When you look at your IMDb resume, Edgemont and Smallville were pretty much going on concurrently. I know as an actor working on a network series, I know Michael and Tom have both talked about how it was kind of grueling. You're doing a 22-episode season. You're doing Edgemont and Smallville. That must have been incredibly busy for you.
Yeah, it was a really busy, I think it was 3 seasons I did that. Maybe 2, but it was really busy and I was very tired. There were times I would go from Smallville set straight to Edgemont and I'd work a 20-something hour day. It was rare, but it happened. Luckily, I was 20 years old and that was very doable at that point in my life. So it was a ton of work. I was just so grateful that I was able to do both because it's not always the case. You don't always get to jump between 2 shows.
A lot of these television series now are filmed. It used to be New York and LA. Now it seems like it's very much British Columbia and Atlanta, where a lot of these things are being filmed. You're obviously from Canada. You live up there still. Is it a little easier? Do you find it more of a relaxing experience to be working in Canada versus coming down to the United States for working? Is it really no different at all?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I've hardly worked in the U.S. I did Chuck on the Warner Brothers lot in L.A., but other than that, and I've done commercials that have been shot in the States, but more often I work in Canada. I think part of that's a fluke, and part of that is by design, and it's nice being at home. It really is. I mean, working in your home city is particularly nice, like being able to drive home at the end of the night and sleep in your own bed. But I worked in Winnipeg for 4 summers, and that was not my home. I still had a great time, but it's still like being away, just like working in LA would be like being away.
And then you've gone off to Thailand to film Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, which I know you said before that was a great experience for you. That's one of those places, it's on my bucket list, just the culture, the people, the atmosphere and everything. It's completely surreal. Talk a little bit about your experience filming Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, if you would.
Yeah, that was an incredible, like you said, it was an incredible experience for me. And I went there and got to work with the great stunt team for about 4 or 5 weeks. And I'd go in every day and just work on everything, do wire work, do Tai Chi, do every possible thing. And that was a joy. And then just being able to be in a city like Bangkok, which is a crazy city. It is an insane city. And being able to live there and work there in the middle of the night in the streets, you get a different experience of a place that way, and also a different experience with people when you get to collaborate with them as opposed to just visit their country or their town. So I love that. And I also love the food. The food is delicious.
I can
so
imagine.
if you ever get a chance to go.
Thai food's one of my favorite anyway, so I can imagine getting it right from Thailand must be a whole different experience from getting it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had Dean Devlin on the show before, and he has that show Almost Paradise, which he went to the Philippines to film that there. And he said the same thing. It's a completely different experience when you're doing it in location in these exotic locales, working with a crew from the area and everything like that. It's such a gratifying experience. And then it
really is.
It's obviously you're coming back to the United States and you're doing other stuff here. What of your experience did you miss most about filming in Thailand? Like if you could bring some aspect of it back here on every set you do, what would that be?
Oh, that's an interesting. I don't know. It's really hard because part of what's great about those experiences is that they are so different from home. And even I've worked in India also, and it's a similar thing. You could never recreate that difference because the things that make it great, I wouldn't want all the time. Just like the challenges of even craft service or all the things that are kind of very cookie cutter here in North America, they do very differently all over the world. So, but I love that, but I wouldn't want that to be the same elsewhere. Does that make any sense?
It does. It does make sense totally. Yeah, because that's a unique experience. You kind of, it's like a ship in a bottle. You have that experience that's unique to that particular filming experience. So it kind of, you can't replicate it and you can't bring it back, and you wouldn't want to, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Working on Beauty and the Beast, which obviously was rebooted from the Ron Perlman, Linda Hamilton. We should mention, too, you'll be here at Fan Expo. Ron Perlman will be at Fan Expo, so it'll be a different Vincent meeting a different Catherine. That's kind of cool that we'll have the two of you both here.
Yeah, I saw that he was going to be there. That's so funny. He's so excellent.
And having worked on that series, you got to play, obviously, Catherine, which Linda Hamilton had that role previously. When you're taking on a role that someone else has had, do you ever reach out to the other actor, or do you strictly rely on your interpretation of the written word that's on the script? We'll pause one last time, take our last commercial break, come back and wrap up our conversation with Kristin Kreuk. Please stand by.
Our world's about to break. Tormented and disaster. Lost when we wake. No way to go back.
Hi, this is Shannon Farnan, the original voice of Wonder Woman, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back for this, our final segment here on Geek to Me Radio. I want to make sure we tell you about our official comic book sponsor, because obviously we have comic guests on here all the time, artists, writers. If you haven't heard some of these other shows, by the way, we mentioned the very beginning of the show, you might be new. Please go back. This is obviously episode 304. Please go back and check out some of our previous episodes. We have writers and artists and creators from the comic book, DC and Marvel, but also independent. We love talking about independent creators here, like our friends Jim Moosley and Ben Sawyer. We've got, obviously, the Transformers godfather, really, Bob Budiansky, who will be at Terrificon coming up. We've had Christopher Cantwell talking about the new Iron Man series he's got. A lot of great artists and writers we've had the chance to talk to thanks to this show. And if you want to hear those conversations, just go to geektomeradio.com. Go through our back catalog. I'm sure you'll find something there that will interest you. Very nice website. Been about a year since we had that website revamped. So if you want to go check that out, play around in there a little bit. And of course, give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Geek to Me Radio. That way you're always alerted when we have new guests coming up and what will be on the show going forward. Before we took that last break, hold on, I didn't finish. I told you about the website. We have to tell you about our comic book sponsor, as I started to do. Bugs Comics and Games. That's bugscomicsandgames.com for the website. Give their Facebook page a like. They're almost to 500 likes there. Just opened 6 months ago in October, and they've been going strong ever since then. Their free comic book day event was amazing. If you are in the greater St. Louis, St. Charles area, maybe you're wanting to get back into comics, maybe you want to find a new comic book store. Bugs Comics and Games right off of Bryan Road in O'Fallon. They can be reached from Highway 70 or from the Page extension. Either way, they're right there, and you can go check out their vast array of back issues. New comics every week, of course, and if you want to save some money on those new comics, join the Avengers Club. You pick out the character you want to be on your Avengers Priority Identicard, and you start getting a discount toward your new issues, back issues, toys, games, supplies, everything like that. It's a great way to save some money while enjoying your favorite hobby. And of course, if you're outside the St. Louis, St. Charles area, go online, bugscomicsandgames.com. You can buy from them online. The variants that they have, they got a lot of variant covers up, and of course, their back issues also there. If you're trying to find something in your area and you can't, Larry and Tim at Bugs Comics just might have it. Once again, that website, bugscomicsandgames.com. Be sure to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/bugscomicsandgames. Very proud to have them as the official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. Right before we took that last break, we're wrapping up our conversation with Kristin Kreuk, and we'd asked her about working on a character that another person has portrayed, like Linda Hamilton in Beauty and the Beast and whatnot, and kind of asked her take on doing that.
I mean, in the past, the projects I have done, I haven't reached out. Now, I don't know. It'd be very funny if I reached out to Linda Hamilton. That'd be really funny. But I think the reason being that the show was so different from the show that they did. Mm-hmm. The only similarity was the basic premise, but everything else was so vastly different that I didn't feel like I was playing the same character in any way.
And then obviously playing Lana Lang in Smallville, you were on set with Annette O'Toole, who played Lana in Superman 3. Did she have any words of advice for you when you came in and were doing the role? Did you have table reads together, and was she helpful? What was your kind of relationship with Annette?
Yeah, I don't remember us talking about it. I remember her being the sweetest, most lovely person to both be around and to work with. And I don't remember ever talking about the character with her. I kind of wish that I had at this point. We never had those conversations, but she was just wonderful as a really inexperienced actor to watch her work. She's just so good at what she does and so natural and warm.
And we actually had John Glover on the show. I don't think it was that long ago, but he said before he was terribly impressed by both you and Tom on your dedication to the craft and your acting, especially you for someone as young as you were when you were doing that series. Was acting something that you wanted to do psychology and environmental studies and things like that, if I'm not mistaken, and acting kind of happened along the way. Did you ever look back and think, boy, I wonder maybe psychology or environmental studies, what would have happened if I'd gone the other direction?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved acting, but it was always a hobby. I never thought of it as a job. And so it happened in my life. And yeah, I do think about that alternate path sometimes. And I just graduated from university.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I've been pursuing my studies in my middle age. But yeah, I do think about it, but I think of it more as like a fun thought process than anything else. I'm really happy with the life that I have and the life that I've chosen.
And when people see you on screen, obviously we know you from these shows, these roles that you get. Has there ever been, because a lot of actors, they'll talk about this role they had and how great an experience this was. Has there ever been a role that you went out for that you missed? And you don't have to necessarily name the TV show, but one where you were like, was there one that you were super disappointed that you didn't end up getting on that show or that movie or that series?
Oh, interesting. It's funny. I don't know if other actors are like this, but when I audition, I often just kind of put it away. Like I send out the thing and I let it go. But there are, shows. I auditioned a bunch of times for which Star Trek was it? Is it Discovery? I can't remember. The more recent one.
Yeah,
but before there was a bunch more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would have loved to have done a Star Trek. That would have been a dream come true for me because I was obsessed with the show as a teenager. But yeah, so something like that. Yeah. But mostly I audition for things and I don't get them. Sometimes I even forget that I have, but I see the person they've cast and they're so wonderful or just so different for me that I don't really think about it.
And you mentioned Star Trek. Was the series like Next Generation, the original series, Voyager? What was your Star Trek?
Yeah, it was Next Generation. Okay. Next Generation was because I was right at that age.
Yeah.
Where it was Next Generation. Yeah, and Picard just looks so much like my father. So it was just a funny thing.
My dad was an original series person. I grew up watching. He was like, "Oh, let's watch Star Trek," and then, like you, Next Generation came around for me, and I was like, "This is so good." But that it's one of those things. I think people are you a Star Wars versus a Star Trek person? Do you enjoy both equally? Do you have a preference?
I prefer Star Trek. At least I prefer the series Star Trek. Most of the series I like, but I haven't watched all of them. Star Wars, I liked the original trilogy. The rest I haven't been. I've seen a lot of them, but I haven't been as excited about it. And there's just so much content now. It's really hard to keep up with.
And we got a few questions I put out on Twitter that I'd be talking to you, and I had a few people want to ask questions. We have at Delvin Cox asked if there was a Smallville, either a reboot or like an animated series where they brought the characters back to you, lend your voice talent to, would that be something you'd be interested in revisiting that world somehow?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be really fun. I know that the boys, aka Tom and Michael, keep talking about something like that, but yeah, absolutely.
And then at Always Smallville asked if you had any interest in directing. I know you've been a producer on several of the shows that you've worked on. Mm-hmm. Is directing ever anything that's taken an interest for you?
You know what? No. I mean, I've definitely been asked about it a few times on shows. I've always struggled with, like we talked about before, I'm a little bit shy to a degree, but controlling set is kind of a scary thing for me. And I don't know that I am I don't know that I have a director's brain. I think there are people that just see the show and they see the shots, and I don't quite have that. I mean, could I build it? Maybe, but am I passionate enough about it? Not really. So I've never really pushed myself to build the skill.
Are you one of those actors who can go back and watch yourself and then do self-critique, or are you a person who, once you film it, you don't want to see it? You've got the director, the producer, the writers, they got what they want. You don't want to go back and see it, or are you somewhere in between?
If I'm on a show and it's like, if I'm the lead of the show or I'm one of the leads of the show, I'll often watch dailies. I feel totally comfortable doing it. I'll watch cuts. I'm obviously critical. I think we're all critical of ourselves, but I don't feel like it breaks me anymore. Maybe I use it as an exercise to train myself. Whereas before, like when I first started, I would just feel awful watching myself. Now it's less that. Maybe I've improved, or maybe I've just numbed myself out. I don't know.
And I want to make sure we tell the listeners too, if you're listening to this right now, Kristin Kreuk will be at Fan Expo St. Louis. You can come out, get an autograph, get a picture taken with her. I have a Lana Lang Smallville action figure I'm going to have you sign when I see you. That's got to be a surreal experience. You've got your own action figure.
I know. I love that action figure. It makes me laugh. It looks nothing like me, but it's my favorite.
Just to have an action figure, I think would be. I'm surprised they didn't do has anyone ever brought you Chun-Li fan art? Anything that people have made? Because I know a lot of the fans at these conventions do some crazy good art, and they'll bring it up there to show the different celebrities. Have you ever seen any Chun-Li fan art based on your character that you did for the movie?
I think so. I think I have. And also someone brought me, I wore this blue dress in that movie, and someone brought me that to sign.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was crazy. I don't know how they got it. They must have been sold somewhere. Yeah. Or they made it. I don't know.
Maybe it was someone taking that great of a care, because I know a lot of fans are also these cosplayers you'll see at these conventions are crazy good with their stuff. So maybe they made it.
Absolutely.
You never know. And I know we've limited amount of time with you. Two last questions for you. You've got all these different actors you've worked with. Obviously, Zach Levi on Chuck, Yvonne Stravosky. On the episode you were in with Jim Piddock and Brandon Roth, you've worked with fantastic actors. We talked about Alan. You've worked with Tom and Michael. Who have you learned something from? Is there one actor on one series who gave you that little pearl of wisdom that you still keep with you to this day?
Oh, interesting. I think it's more watching people. And weirdly, I worked with Vera Farmiga and Miranda Richardson on Snow White. And those two are stellar actors. Oh, yeah. They're so incredible. And watching them was amazing. I learned, and I was, I think, 18 when I was on that movie. So that was such a wonderful experience for me to watch these absolute pros when I was so green.
And my very last question, you have a milestone birthday coming up at the end of this year. How are you going to celebrate? You already have big plans, or are you just kind of we're going to very quiet, a few friends, we might drink some wine? Do you have anything major planned?
Honestly, I've been dealing with this cross-country move, and I thought I wanted to. So there's a research center that I really want to go to in the jungle. I think it's in Peru, and I really would love to go and see the macaws. So I'm thinking about doing something like that, but I just don't know if I'm going to get my act together before December.
Gotcha. Well, early happy birthday, and I'm sure no matter what you do, it'll be a fantastic event for you. Again, if you're listening, Fan Expo St. Louis, 13th through the 15th, you can see Kristin, get stuff signed, take pictures with her. Tom and Michael from Smallville will also be there. Where can people keep up with you online? Website, social media handles, things like that?
I have a Twitter. I think it's Ms. Kristin Kreuk, and I don't really use it very much though. So, but my Instagram, which is at Ms. Kristin L. Kreuk, I think, and those are my only two social medias, and I'm much more active on Instagram.
Perfect. This has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time today. Look forward to seeing you here in a few days.
Yes, thank you so much.
And that's the end of the show. Another one in the books. Thank you to all of you for listening. Please go back and check out our back catalog. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and on twitch.tv. Just find Geek Me Radio there and subscribe. We appreciate that very much. Thank you, as always, to Joey V for making the show sound as good as it does every week. I would not still be doing the show without his help. Happy birthday to him. He just celebrated his birthday this week. And if you follow him on Twitter, at Joey_VEE, I believe is his Twitter handle. Give him a follow there. He'd appreciate that as well. Thank you, of course, to my guests, the great Jes Macallan and the wonderful Kristin Kreuk for their time. And until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch a zombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young Arts. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, Edgemont. Good night.
Hey kids, are your parents about to buy you a shiny new toy from Amazon?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Well, don't be selfish. Share some of that money with us. Before going on Amazon, make sure to type in bit.ly/geek2me in the web browser. It will look just like Amazon.com, except it'll say referral Geek to Me Radio up top. And then when you check out, a tiny percentage will go to support the show without costing you 1 cent more. So before your parents get you that gizmo, gadget, or widget, make sure they type in bit.ly/geek2me in the web browser.
Bit.ly/geek2me. Bit.ly/geek2me.